What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Old Volks TV. Still prepping for that big trip to Arizona. As I'm packing stuff up, going through my roadside stuff, I thought I'd just take a minute to show you guys what we keep in the roadside kit for breakdowns and emergencies and things like that. So we're gonna go through it. I got it all piled right here. Doesn't really look like much, and really you don't need that much. As long as you take the important stuff, usually it's enough to get by. So we'll dive in there and I'll show you exactly what we keep, and then you can hit the Amazon and order it all up, and then you'll be safe too. Let's go. All right, so one of the most important things to have, just because it's going to come in the most handy out of everything else, is a good jack. I don't use the stock jacks. I don't trust them. They're wobbly, they're unstable, and rusty jack points and things like that, no good. So I carry a good like Harbor Freight or auto parts store, just a regular floor jack, and then carry a piece of plywood to roll it around on. Gives you a nice stable platform to position it wherever you need to under the car. It's not going to sink or be sketchy at all. Also carry some chunks of 4x4, super handy. Also, you can stack them up underneath it. I wouldn't go more than one high, because then it does get a little weird, but this jack doesn't quite lift the bus up enough to get those big tires out. So a couple of these underneath that on top of the plywood, you got a good stable place to jack the car up from, and you can feel kind of safe with that. These also work really good for leveling the bus when you get to your campsite. You don't always get a flat spot to camp in, so you can stack these up and put some 2x4s on there and make a nice ramp, kind of like that. So that's kind of nice. You can get the bus up to some extent, at least a little bit level, so you're not sliding off the bed in the middle of the night. I also take a jack stand. I usually just take the one, because the jack will be kind of enough, and then little jack stand underneath somewhere else just to keep it safe in case you gotta crawl underneath there for a throttle cable or something. Also keep a couple different kinds of flashlights, and you got your magnetic spotlight. It's pretty bright, and then a good headlight. This one's USB chargeable, so I can actually charge it off of the accessory plug in the front. Super bright, lasts for a really long time. Put it on your head so you don't have to worry about holding it. I've got the lights in the engine bay, but some of the folks I travel with don't. So this makes it handy for trying to troubleshoot or figure it out. I usually keep these also up here in the drawer, so they're easy to access. You don't want to have to unpack everything, just to get a simple flashlight. So that's good there. Multi-tool, I carry a Leatherman. It's pretty much got everything. I mean, everybody knows what these are, so this is good for quick stuff, easy stuff. If you just gotta cut something, or screwdriver or pair of pliers or something, that plus the flashlight will usually get you out of a jam pretty easy. If not, we got the toolbox, and I've seen people make it with a lot less, and I've seen people fail with a lot more. Some people carry 500, 1,000 different items in their bus that you just really don't need. You only need a certain number of tools. There's only certain tools that you will need. So I've got a metric set of sockets, a little metric set of wrenches in here, ratchets, rags, greasy rags. Never underestimate the power of a greasy rag. I don't know, good for wiping up oil, I guess. I carry cardboard too, make some gaskets. In a pinch, it'll do for a carb gasket or something. In a pinch to get you to your next spot, but you usually should get a gasket. Got a little electrical kit, some connectors, butt connectors, zip ties, gloves, baling wire. Saves the day. I mean, more times than I can count. Last year driving down there, my gas pedal fell apart 50 times on the way there. Baling wire got me 1,500 miles tying that thing back together until Donnie could replace the linkage for me. So it's good. Baling wire, you can get this just about anywhere, any hardware store. Super cheap, small, easy, nice. We've got wire, screwdrivers, duct tape, You know, just some basic tools to help keep you on the road. If it's just a quick little adjustment or something that you need. So it all fits in this nice little vintagey box. My bus has a little hidey hole back here that I could stick it in and it stays out of the way. I do usually have to move my cooler out of the way because the cooler sits right here and I can't get to the tools, but it's just the cooler. Again, you don't want to try and have to unpack the whole bus to get your tools, but that's usually the best place for me to put it. It stays out of the way. I can keep it there all the time. It's no big deal. You also want to carry some oil. I think this is the oil that I have in there now. I'm about to do an oil change before the trip, so I'll change it out. I usually try to carry the oil that I have in there so that I'm not mixing, because you always have to add a little bit, especially on a long trip. You know, you burn it, you drip it. So I try to keep it, whatever I'm using in there extra, just a couple, like maybe 2 bottles, just in case. You got to add some. Maybe somebody else needs a little oil and you can mix it in their car, right? Not your car. So that's cool. I got a little compressor that I carry just to top off the tires. This usually won't fill a tire up from empty, but if you just get one that's a little bit low, maybe you can put a little pressure in there. It works good for the kids' bikes too when you're camping. Plugs into the cigarette lighter, so that's a nice one to have around. All this stuff kind of fits to, you know, somewhere in the bus, so you don't have to have it just out kicking around. It all kind of fit underneath the seat or something. I got my little towing kit. This is handy for got my emergency tow strap, some tie downs, got an adapter for a wiring harness. I got some safety chains in there and some, you know, make sure you get the ones that are rated for towing or for heavy weight, because if you're using the wrong ones, if the car falls off, it's just going to fall apart and you're going to lose the car anyways. So I keep a couple of these heavy duty ones around. Usually only carry this on really long trips in case I need to tow somebody or get pulled out of a ditch or something. You know, that tow strap, it's real handy. Tie downs, you know, you keep those around in case you find something cool on the road you want to strap down, or somebody breaks down and you want to bring their stuff, you can throw it on the roof rack. Gas can, preferably full, at least a gallon. A gallon will get you pretty far these days with these cars. If you can get a 5-gallon one somewhere, it's better, because you just have a little bit more range, but at least a gallon will usually get you off the road to the next place where it's safe to pull over. You know, and this, I usually won't keep this inside the bus. Strap them to the roof. Like a 5-gallon one, you can tip it up on its side like this so it doesn't leak, and it's not so tall. You can strap them down real nice. These smaller ones, you can strap them down through the handle, but definitely don't want to keep that in the bus because you'll be smelling gas fumes. These don't seal perfect. I don't know. They just haven't been good in the last few years, so. But good to have. And then the last thing is my magical suitcase here. This is where I keep, again, for really long trips like we're doing, I take my timing light. You know, it's good to have, especially if you have a non-degreed pulley. It's really hard to set the timing on those static. If you have to replace the distributor, which I always carry, you know, this is a good distributor. This is pre-timed for my motor, but if I have to put this in somebody else's motor, the timing's not going to be right. We're going to have to reset it. So timing light, keep a fuel pump in there, brand new fuel pump. Got all the gaskets in here too. Keep some spare fuses. Got a coil, fuel filter, return springs. Lug nuts is a big deal. You never know, man. These things, I've had them come off. Lost all my lug nuts before, lost a wheel. Had to steal one from all the other wheels, then you're rolling on 4. So I keep 5 bus lug nuts, and I keep, I think there's 2 or 3 bug lug nuts in there. just enough to kind of get a wheel back on to get somebody off the road. I don't always keep just my stuff. I try to have stuff in here for the people I'm traveling with too, so if somebody breaks down, you know, we're not stranded as a group. So I've got like a coil. This coil is actually matched to this distributor, but it'll work with points too. It's just the lower ohms. For that, I got a little emergency flasher light. This flash is red. You can stick this out kind of behind the bus there, let people know at night. I got this for my jerry can. You know, you always have the can, you can't find the spout. So I keep the spout in here. Valve cover gaskets. Got throttle cables and clutch cables for bug, for split bus, for bay. Again, you know, I've run across people that are broke down on the side of the road and they've got a bad clutch cable. You know, and so I just carry one for each. The bug one is kind of a universal one. It's really long, so it'll work at a bug, a Gia thing. The bus ones are a little different with the front on them. So we got the bay and the split bus. I also carry a couple of the wing nuts for the clutch cable, because sometimes if the cable snaps up here and you lose this end, you know, you're still stuck. So these things are, you know, I've probably got 30 bucks maybe tied up in all that, and it's good to have it. I went to Mitch's house last summer and drove like an hour and a half to get there in the bus, and just as I was getting ready to leave, I snapped the clutch cable, and I happen to have one. So it, you know, it took 10 minutes to get me back on the road, and we're still rolling. So it's worth it. You know, pick one up, stick it in a cooler or a cool suitcase like this, and you can have it in there and it doesn't look out of place, you know, and you have everything right there accessible, ready to go. And then in that toolbox, I have all the tools needed to put all this stuff in there. If you got to replace a fuel pump or something, I've got a little 13 wrench, some hose clamps, a little bit of fuel line I have to put in here. I used what I had in here, so a little bit of fuel line, some oil line. If you have an oil cooler, you want to carry an oil line, and you can get these little splicers. So if you pop a line, you can put the new piece in there and fill the gap. Just so you're not, you know, you just don't want to get stuck. It's a long way to go wherever you're going, and if you can just fix it on the side of the road and go, you're golden. So that's easy. Tools, spare parts. So I'll show you how everything fits in the bus, and when we're all done, you really won't see any of it. It all kind of hides real nice, and so we'll jump in and I'll show you where it all goes. Alright, so here's my little hidey hole. I don't think Westies have this. I think they have a different setup with a little jump seat that goes in there, but Riviera, little toolbox goes in there perfect. Put my little pump on there, and that's, you know, it fits in there perfect. Little vintage toolbox. And then down underneath here, where I have my inverter also, I can put the gas can, because it's empty. I do keep my white gas, camping gas, in there for my lanterns and my stoves. I don't keep it in there, but when I'm going camping or whatever, I do put it there just to keep it out of the sun. And the jack in there. Forget the handle, it's important to have the handle. The jack's in. And then my tool bag. And that's it. Perfect, right there. Alright, so in the back I got my closet. It's missing the back, it got rotted away. But that's nice for me because it comes in pretty, makes everything pretty accessible. So I keep my wood back here. Leveling blocks. My oil goes back there. This will go in the suitcase, and then the plywood, I cut it to fit just perfect in the opening here. slide that right on there, and nobody knows it's there. You don't even see it, but it's easy to get to. If I have to jack the bus up for some reason, I can just open the hatch, and you know, there it is right there. Boom, grab it, grab the jack, and then the suitcase, you know, with everything in it, I usually just keep it next here. When I go camping, I usually have like a backpack and some bedding here that's easy to just flip it over if you need to access the hippie hatch or something back here to do some work. I try to not clutter up the back too much, just because I don't want to make it hard on myself if I need to fix something. But that's pretty much it. It's super easy. It's all hidden. You don't even see any of it. The suitcase looks correct in there. I think it's perfect. And you definitely want to keep this stuff with you, because you're going to break down at some point. Everybody does. Doesn't matter how well prepared you are as far as prepping the vehicle, stuff's still going to happen. You know, and I don't have everything I need, but this is the stuff that I've run out of before and had to use. So once you have to fix it on the road once, I always just order two and throw one in the box and just have it. You know, I may still have a wheel fall off. I may have a brake failure or something, and if that happens, then you know, we'll figure it out on the road. But it's good to have this stuff, and it's good to carry stuff for other people, just in case you run across somebody else that's stranded, that even if you don't know them, you know, my throttle cable snapped, oh here, I got one for you. You know, it's cheap enough, it's good karma points, you know, get you on the road, get everybody on the road, so we can stay safe. So we're gonna get back to packing up here. I'm gonna start packing. I'm a little bit early. I'm about a week early, but I just want to make sure we have everything. You know, everything works. Fire up all the lanterns. Fire up all the stoves. So we'll show you guys how to do that on the next one. How to go through your camping stuff and make sure everything's in your box, and how to pack that stuff. So we'll do that on the next one, hopefully. And then after that, we'll be on the road to the big show. So thanks for watching.